Hey guys, good evening everyone. Welcome to our Monday episode of our daily stock market insights. Today is June 22nd, 2020. Okay, so I will cover all the requests that you guys posted in my YouTube channel and as well as in our Facebook page, which is Invest in the Stock Market. Um, at the same time, because I have already a few, plus, of course, I will add the ones in our trending stocks list, right? And to begin, let us start with our discussion uh, covering the index. Okay, let me just go ahead and load our chart over here. Let's see. Oh, wow. Looks like the index is respecting our MA20 line. We're a little bit higher, but so far it's grading that this trend line over here, which is actually much higher than the MA20 line. So I'd say it is starting to look bullish for our index here. And let's use this as our area of support. Overall, this is where let me just remove that line first. This is the support that I see for this stock. I mean for this for the index. Okay, and looks like we're still looking healthy at that level. There you have it. So some more positive actions for our uh, stocks included in the index. Okay, so let's start with. I did not put it in my notepad, but I have it listed down on my notebook. So the first one is BDO. BDO, we ended slightly lower than the MA20 line. So I mentioned in my previous video where I talked about Wirecard and its um, and how it is linked to BDO and BPI with the current AKA scandal that's happening. So they were able to verify that they had nothing to do with the lost or the missing $2 billion, right? So they said that it was um, an employee who falsified some documents. But overall, they really had no account related to Wirecard, or Wirecard does not have any transaction with them. So I think this is just a reaction to that. But overall, see how the market performed. It attempted to dip at the beginning of the day. As you can see here, um, it declined right away. This was the first 30 minutes. But the overall sentiment of the market is that we have already reached a cheap area for this stock. It's actually on a 15-minute chart right away that was already at the oversold level. So the technicals have taken place. Okay, so the technical analysis has really dominated the game today. And so when the market found that it was at the oversold level, so this is just a 15-minute chart, um, more people were buying it, or they were actually taking advantage of the negative sentiment of the majority, and people are starting to buy. So that's the reason why, despite that negative news, we only dipped slightly lower for our BDO here. I'd say this is a slight overshoot, but I feel that it will recover right away. So even if we've ended lower than the MA20 line, but because there is a support in that level as well, so I think it will just bounce right away. So 96.58 is a possible area of bounce. And it makes sense, right, for it to stop at that level because we found this in this one as well for several days. This area was also a support. At the same time, this level was a resistance previously. So I think it just makes sense. So when it dropped, it bounced right away. So you're very near, in fact, you're very near that level. And probably we can just observe how the market is going to perform tomorrow. Maybe it will just stabilize in this level first before it continues higher. I don't think that if it will drop, the most that it can go down to is in this level, around 85.88. That's the lowest drop I can see. Okay, so that's going to be, if that happens, that's going to be a triple bottom, but I don't really think it is going to be that low. It will just stabilize around 96.58. The next one is SMC. SMC is still sitting at the support area. So remember, we're moving higher than the MA20 line, and so when we start to retrace, uh, this level will most likely act as your support when the stock is in an uptrend. So it's a good sign today that we have a green candlestick. So most likely we'll see some more movements higher than 101.90 in the coming days. Let's use this level as our support still, just in case the price will revisit that area. Okay. Although very near that is also a resistance. That's the nearest resistance that I can see, and then the next would be 110. So it might, move within this range first for quite some time before it moves higher. As you can see, the potential of this stock is really promising. We're still at an okay level here. We are starting to move higher. For long-term investors, we're starting to move higher here. So if you want to create a trend line, and this is for long-term investors, okay, I'm addressing the long-term investors in this statement now. Let me remove this first. Okay. Hmm. It's not even. Let me see, because if I put this here, it's not equal. Never mind, let's not use that instead. Let's just follow the MA20 line here. Okay, there you have it. So I don't like to see a lot of lines. This one, MA20, and as you can see here, for the previous days, the price has been landing in this level, and then you see bounce happening. So I think that it will respect that level first. And yeah, next one would be SMPH. SMPH is also trying to respect your MA20 line. As you can see here, each time there's a slight overshoot for the past few days. It's landing slightly lower than the MA20 line, but today is really looking really good. Promising movement here. We're sitting at the MA20 line, so I feel that you will have more movements going up by tomorrow and in the coming days. Just observe what happens when the price level reaches this area. Okay, so this is currently acting as your resistance over here. Okay, at the same time, if you're to observe, there's also a resistance in this level. So if tomorrow we are going to continue much higher than this level, then good, we will have more bullish actions there. But I still see this level as our support. It's respecting that for how many days now, and also in today's market performance, you had foreign buying happening, and you also have scheduled dividend release. So there are so many reasons why foreign investors are looking into this stock right now. Plus the fact that it's very cheap. Look at that. This stock has already declined by how many percent since February? So it dropped by 48%, and we already have made some improvement in terms of price, and we're now 20+% higher. So it's starting to go back to its previous price level before the quarantine. And yeah, for those people who are still interested in accumulating volume for this stock, still at an okay level, right? The nearer you are to the MA20 line, the better. The next one is URC. URC also showed us a bullish candlestick today. So it's a green engulfing candlestick. So I think that we are going to move higher, right? Although we're still technically below the MA20 line, but I think that we are already going to um, cross that line. So could be a make or break day tomorrow, right? Because there's also a resistance happening because we're still lower than MA20 line and this one as well. So just be mindful. Hopefully tomorrow it starts much higher than 132.50 and then we move some more to the upside. Otherwise, if we have a red candlestick there, so that's not good. There might be a change in direction and some more declines to happen there. But so far, this is the, if you're going to use the trend line here, this is the trend line, okay? Yeah, that's the trend line because each time it touches this level, there's a bounce, and now we created a higher low. So hopefully when it moves up, we create a higher high. So previous high is here, then it reached this level, and then when it retraced, it's much higher than the previous low. So if it breaks that 132.50 level, let's say price starts higher than that, then good. Otherwise, if it breaks down, then if it crosses this yellow line here, that means there's a breakdown in the support. Next, uh, here another interesting stock. Let's see how it performed today. All right, so it's starting to recover. So if some of you guys, okay, so don't expect that you will have a repeat of what happened here. Okay, so the pacing of this stock might be slower than the past, the initial 3 days here. So there is a possibility that, let us say, this is your new support, for example. Previous resistance becomes a support right here, just in case. If you entered around 450, I think hopefully tomorrow it will go back to that level. And once you reach that level, try to observe, use a faster time frame. And if you have entered around 445 or 450 level, I suggest if you see signs of weakness, or let's say in a 15-minute or a 5-minute time frame, use a 5-minute time frame. And as we go near 448 level and you see, let's say, two red candlesticks forming at this level in a 15-minute chart, consider taking profit, even if what you are after right now is just to exit because you've been trapped here. Okay, so the nearer you are to this level, and if you find weakness happening, for example, like this one moves higher and then there's a red candlestick coming out here, take profit or exit the trade just to save your capital. And then when it drops, two things that you can do here: totally say goodbye to it when it reaches 450, or um, take a portion of it. It's like your cut loss level. So if it doesn't reach 450, or let's say it reaches near 450 and you want to uh, do a cut loss, partially cut your loss, and then when it declines further downwards, wait for it to go down and use that buying power to buy some more. I'm not saying you add more funds to average down. What I'm currently sharing to you is how you can average down without having to add more funds. So again, wait for it to go as near as this level. And if you see signs of weakness, probably something like this, you see a red candlestick coming out here in a, let's say, 15-minute time frame, and that's a sign of weakness. Two things can happen: one, exit 100%, or two, exit a portion of your volume there. Let's say 50% you exit just to save your capital. Now that you have a buying power and you know that it is already declining, wait for it somewhere in the area where it could potentially bounce. Okay, an area where it could potentially bounce, and then use that buying power to add more. So in that way, from a 450, let's say you manage to haggle and catch it around 3 peso area, because let's say it will retrace at that level, then your average is no longer 450. It's in between 450 and 3 peso, right? So you now have averaged down without having to add funds. One thing to take note of, look at this. I just noticed it in a 15-minute time frame, you're already at the overbought level. So just be extra careful there. But tomorrow is another day. It all depends on, what the sentiment is at the beginning of the day. So if it will still give us a chance to move higher, then good. You can strategize your day depending on, of course, why you are in there to begin with. Mac. For Mac over here, it's trying to revisit. Most likely, it will revisit your MA20 line here. This used to be your resistance. I see a resistance formed here, so we're currently resting. Most likely, it will test this level before it goes up again. Okay, and if you want to see the potential, you have very big potential here. Very cheap level right now. See that? That was a decline by, let's say, start from here to here, almost 100% dip. So currently we were on a sideways for how many months, and we're starting to show that recovery. And along with that, of course, when we recover, there will be slight retracement, and I still consider this as just slight retracement, retesting and creating a brand new support. This used to be a resistance, and now we're higher than that. It's retesting and that creating a brand new support in that level. So 5.51 is the support that I see. ICT. ICT is a bounce, guys. As you can see here, this is your support, and we now have a green candlestick. Wow, 17 million foreign buying. So I feel positive. So anywhere from the current price, or if it drops a few pesos, then take advantage of that. I feel that tomorrow could be a promising day. More movements going up for this stock. Cebu Pacific. Cebu Pacific, now the body is starting to be smaller and smaller. Today is a doji, and we all know that when a doji comes out at the support level, that would mean a possible change in direction. So we could have a possible bounce by tomorrow. Okay, so it could be a make or break day, provided 41 or 42 level should be the starting price, and more, and the sentiment should be moving up. It's a different story if let's say on the first 30 minutes the sentiment is going down. So my recommendation, if you're starting to show interest in this stock, I suggest engage in it by end of day, probably last 15 minutes, last hour of the day. That's when you enter this stock. Wait for it first. Wait for the sentiment to really come out within the day. At least you already have 80% or 90% of the picture already painted the entire day on the last hour of the trading, last hour of the market. Okay, this one. Next is Double Dragon. Double Dragon, I think I sense something good here. This could be a bounce. Actually, this is where it bounced. It respected this level. Used to be a resistance here, used to be your support here. So yes, I think that we will have some more movements going up here. Your RSI is still at the 50 level, 47 in fact. So that's a good recovery there. Use 16.76 to 730. That's already a good entry price, guys. Look at where we are at right now. Okay. It was doing sideways for a long time, and it did that spike, and because there was a massive movement going up, so the correction or the retracement is also very steep, just the same level of steepness when it went up there. Okay, next one would be Dito. Dito, nice 15% increase, but you know there's a resistance nearby, and that is here. Hopefully with good volume, some more volume there, we will be able to break that. But one thing to be extra careful of is that Dito is a favorite of traders. Okay, there's so many traders here that only a slight increase in price, they're taking profit right away. At the same time, you're also in the overbought level. So if you want to consider partially taking profit and you know try to observe how it performs as you go near your resistance, because this used to be a resistance as well previously. Okay, when a red candlestick starts to be formed in this level, maybe that's a best time to consider. Okay, next one would be IDs. No, tech is next. Tech is, I think, going to go back to your MA20 line, which is around 8.18. This is a solid support right here, which used to be your resistance here. Okay, let me just move that higher. It's an area anyway, so around 820, 825, that level. So it might dip a little bit, just gaining some more momentum, and then it will move higher. Uh, I'd say this is one of the solid stocks nowadays. Look at the revenue. Q1. Q1 revenue is an increase by 8,000%. So that's a good one. 8.29 for me is the support level. Where are we at? Look at that. Look at that. Huge potential for this stock. It even reached what? 50, 60 level, and now where are we sitting at? 8 peso area. And in terms of revenue, what happened? Let me launch. Let's launch this again. Oh no. Let me just launch this again. Dito. Let's go back to Dito. You know why? Because the last chart I had was a 15-minute time frame. Let's just check this again. Oh, what happened to this? Daily chart. And let's add a Bollinger Band and RSI. this. Okay. Now, so we're back in. So we've plotted the lines correctly, yes. What about tech? For tech, yes, we've also plotted it correctly. So that's an area. We're on a daily chart there. Um, what about IDC? Wow, nice. IDC is a good bounce, 11.9% increase. So just in case people will take profit, just take advantage of those retracements, minor retracements tomorrow. Overall, I'd say this is now starting to show that bullish action. I feel that we will have some more green candlesticks or more increase in the price by tomorrow and in the coming days. First area to challenge would be this level, and probably another one in this area here, because we see this support, and this used to be a resistance here. So that will be your areas to closely monitor. But just in case you are able to haggle in terms of price anywhere from 192 to 2.06, that should already be okay to start entering. Next one would be green. For green, oh, look at that. This used to be your support here. Let me just move this here. Settings. I see this area as a support level, and we have touched that with 7.56. So I think in case it'll retrace, I think it will retrace up to 1.74 and then continue to move higher, because yeah, that will be your so here's the situation. Tomorrow could be a breakout day. Let us say it starts much higher than 1.85, then expect some more climb in the coming days. If the starting price is much higher than 1.85, you will have something like this. Continue to move higher, and then probably retrace and then continue higher. It will create a higher high and a higher low, something like this. So just follow this trend line if in case it continues to move higher. You might have there. So that is your trend line there. So that's clearer. However, you have to also take note that there's resistance here. So if it retraces, then possible drop would be here. But um, tomorrow could also be a potential breakout, and then it will create another high, touching probably this level because you had your resistance area in this line. So that's an area to closely monitor. All you have to do is find these points, create a support at that level, and then these points for your resistance area. And consider this level as well because this used to be a support. All right, next would be PXP. PXP also had a good bounce today. Nice one. So 11.25% increase. In case it gives us a chance there, 5.05 would be the next support. The reason why we plotted it there is because we saw this, okay? That's an area of resistance previously. and then we managed to break out of that. So if people will take profit, it will go back to this level and test a brand new support there. Where could be your next resistance? Very near. The nearest resistance that I see at the moment would be this level. If you want to be very clear, see that there's I would normally zoom out. I would normally zoom out and use a much longer time frame, like a weekly time frame, to really understand the direction. When a daily time frame is giving me some, noise in the chart. So as you can see here, we have officially crossed that MA20 line here. We are now higher than that, so we can most likely be stabilizing in this range first, or we will have a breakout soon for this week. 5.05, I'd still stick to that as an area of support. Home. For home, also on a weekly chart, we are now higher than MA20 line. Let's go back to your daily. Nice, very clear. So neat. So this is your support, guys, and we have started to bounce. And just in case people will take profit tomorrow, maybe they have already entered somewhere here. That should already be a good gain for them. Let's see, how far is this from the bottom? That's a good 48% increase. So just in case some of them might decide to take profit, take advantage of that and enter anywhere between 6.92 and 7.55. That should already do good. MWIDE. MWIDE is still stabilizing. You're still at the support level. You see this? This used to be a resistance. This used to be a resistance. And you're very near the MA20 line. For several days, we've been just moving within this range. 6.73 for me is a good area to monitor. Maybe we will have a good bounce there tomorrow. Because that for me is something significant because of these areas being a resistance before. Okay, there. Overall, if you want to look at the bigger picture of things, you're still at technically the bottom. 6.73 would be our support level. So there you have it, guys. I have just reviewed a total of 16 stocks for you. If you want to find out what those are, I will be putting this in the description box so that you'll see if the stocks that I was able to cover today, any of those would be in your portfolio. If these stocks are not, and you have your own request, go ahead and drop a comment, because I always consider your comment before I start any video. So I'll see if I can record another one, but if not, then your request in the comment section will be my priority in tomorrow's discussion. In the meantime, thank you guys. If you have not subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe. Click the notification bell so that you're always updated. And if you see value in what we're doing, I hope you also like it. Thank you, and bye-bye for now.